All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, all glory, all honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, the rest of the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother, the preacher Zion from GMS Atlanta, back with another edifying video. And we have more riots and protests breaking out in these different areas and countries around the world, which the scriptures say when you shall see these things. And I think I spoke on this yesterday, maybe the day before, dealing with the unrest, And speaking of that, you got Trump federalizing the police, taking over the D.C. police out there in Washington, D.C., and that's a sign of pretty much a police state, a police state type situation out there in D.C. And hey, we warned you all these years. GMS been out there preaching and prophesying and, telling you people, telling you Jakes out there, you so-called black Hispanics, you Native American tribes, what was going to happen in America. And, we were getting scoffed at, we were getting mocked. You had, different people make videos coming against us, but we're seeing the implications of everything that we've been talking about happening now. And we used to go out there on the street with the sign, that spoke about martial law and the police state, and how the government was going to take over these cities. And what's Trump doing? Trump is he's talking about not just taking over D.C., but other major cities around this country. So, hey, that would mean that the men of the Lord and the true prophets will have to be the men of Great Millstone. These other Israelite groups, they do speak on certain things, but they're missing the whole truth. I'm talking about the whole 100% truth. And we're always going into prophecy. I'm always going into prophecy. I'm going into prophecy now. Your Christian pastors, they're not going into what's to come. Prophecy. Vocab Malone, he's not going into prophecy. So we spoke about these types of situations. Now, you also have these riots that are taking place in other countries, and that's what's going to lead. And that's going to lead to martial law out here in the U.S. Once Trump starts to really clamp down on these cities, and things get worse, people start losing more jobs, then there's going to be protests. There's going to be riots, and hey, Trump's going to have them police and them National Guard and them federal forces ready. So this is from France 24. Now this is from overseas. All right, this is from France 24. All right, and it says new clashes in Serbia as political crisis escalates. Clashes between rival groups of protesters in Serbia flared again late Thursday, police said, as months of anti-government demonstrations boiled over into street violence this week. So this is from August 15, 2025. And they out there, man. Okay. Serbia. Let's look this up. Serbia is out there. It's a republic in the Balkans. Population over 7 million. Official language Serbian. Capital Belgrade. Landlocked country at the crossroads of Southeast and Central Europe. I believe it's near Russia as well, in that region. You got the Balkans, the Serbians. You got Russia further to the east. Matter of fact, here's a little map here. Okay, you got Romania, Hungary, Croatia, Okay, I'm sorry. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Kosovo. And then you can see on this map, it's not letting me blow it up, but you can see you got Italy. So it's not too far from the boot, from Italy. So Europe, all right? So over there in Europe. So it says a wave of anti-corruption protests has gripped Serbia since November, when the collapse of the Novi Sad railway station roof killed 16 people, a disaster widely blamed on entrenched corruption. Anti-graft protesters again gathered. So they've been protesting off and on for almost a year, right? In several cities across Serbia late Thursday. That was mainly in response to a previous attack by governing party supporters on demonstrators Tuesday in the town of Verbas, about 100 miles north of the capital Belgrade. Large groups of pro-government supporters, most wearing masks, confronted protesters on Wednesday, and the two groups hurled bottles, stones, and fireworks at each other. Police had arrested nearly 50 people across the country on Wednesday, and around 30 riot police were injured. This is what the scriptures speak about. Okay, let me go to the book of Luke. Luke 21. And I get straight to the point here. Luke 21:9. It says, "But when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. But these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by." So these things are commotions in these countries, right? But they're to come to pass. Now, when you jump down to the 25th verse, it says this. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." Right? Now, the point that I want to get here is the distress of nations with perplexity. Because we're seeing these countries pretty much implode. America is on the same path, imploding. The government coming down on the citizens for various reasons. The citizens coming against the government. That's 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter. Okay, let me get that scripture. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Okay, let's go to 2 Ezra 15. And I'm always going into the scripture. 2 Ezra chapter 15 and 15. "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Yeah, weapons, rocks, bottles, guns, sticks. 16 is the point. Okay, well, I read it here. "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes." Who's the kings and the princes? Your government rulers, your cabinet, your congressmen, your those that sit in your government seats. The people are come against the lawmakers. It says, "In the course of their actions shall stand in their power," and that's what they're doing. They're taking the power into they're taking the power into their own hands and coming against the government. And who does the government send out? They send out these troops. They send out these police forces, law enforcement. Okay. Okay, now this here, and I spoke on these before, but these are recent articles dealing with the situation. This is from the Arab News. It says, "Riot police block protesters from approaching Israeli cruise ship in Greece." And they've been protesting out there in Greece on these cruise ships for weeks now. Okay? It says, "Riot police at Greece's largest port cordon off an area around an Israeli cruise ship that arrived early Thursday to prevent several hundred protesters from approaching the vessel. Yeah, because they're protesting about what's going on and what those. This is how you know those people in the land that claim that they're the people of the Bible. They're not the real people. They're the actual Gentiles. Okay, Yahushua said that Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until a particular time, right? Revelation the 11th chapter. The true Israelites are not in that land, but soon, the true worshipers of the Lord will be back in that land. It says protests have been held at Greek islands and mainland ports along the route of the Crown Iris, several of which have led to clashes with police. At the port of Piraeus near Athens on Thursday, demonstrators held flares and waved Palestinian flags behind a cordon formed with riot police buses. Protest organizers, citing online posts from travelers, said off-duty small hat soldiers were among the passengers. They are unwanted here and have no business being here, protest organizer Marcos Becri said. Them people do not like the small hats, man. The blood of innocent people is on their hands, and we should not welcome them. I read this last part. Greece is a popular holiday destination for Israelis, right? But the ongoing war in Gaza and global attention on the widespread destruction and severe food shortages, right? Famines, bombings, wars over there in that region has triggered hundreds of anti-Israel protests in Athens and other Greek cities, as well as a political confrontation. So, yeah, the words of Yahushua are ringing true. The prophecies are coming to pass. The protests, the riots, right? Let me just read this in the AMP version. The Amplified Bible, right? Luke 21:9. When you hear of wars and disturbances, civil unrest, revolts, uprisings, but that's the point. You know, that's the point. I'm gonna end it here. Yeah, that's the point. I'm gonna end it here. So all praises goes to Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah Basham Kakwadash. Shalom.